Let's talk to Dr. Mike Jones, Executive Director at Migration Watch UK. Mike, a very good morning. Welcome to Talk TV. What happens now? We've had these two decisions about Rwanda last week from the House of Lords and from the Court of Appeal. I mean, this scheme is essentially, it's finished, it's over, isn't it, before the next election?
Not necessarily. I think the government is in a very bad situation at the moment. Essentially, legal challenges began as soon as the Rwanda scheme was announced. You had challenges to the European Court of Human Rights. The ECHR intervened at the last minute. They prevented the first flight away from Britain to Rwanda. Then it went to the High Court. The High Court ruled in the government's favour. And then so the opponents of the ruling went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal ruled against the government by a 2-to-1 majority, but the government will now wait for a decision by the Supreme Court.
How long do we think that'll take?
Not sure. I mean, it could be anywhere between 6 to 3 months. It's difficult to say. There are rumours in newspapers as to the time frame, but it's very difficult to tell.
Right, so a matter of months. So obviously that will be the next stage. And then obviously there's the likelihood that it'll go to our friends at the European Court of Human Rights, that we trust and respect so brilliantly for always acting impartially, even though they're not actually trained judges.
Yeah, the ECHR essentially they're an opaque court. The decisions are often made on the back of a cigarette packet at short notice with almost zero consultation with national governments, and we don't know who the judges are. Again, you know, it's the whole sort of legal architecture around migration policy, which is the issue.
So here we've basically got the lawyers making off handsomely at our expense, at taxpayers' expense, and of course, what message does this send to the illegal, the vile people smugglers in terms of the marketing material that they use on social media and TikTok and the other platforms to attract their new customers, the migrants trying to come here from that supposedly safe country, France?
Well, it sends a very strong signal that, you know, there's a political and legal logjam here in the UK, and effectively, if you arrive here, it's very difficult to deport you. I don't think all is lost just yet. I think the Supreme Court decision is absolutely fundamental. But again, chickens come home to roost, and the government is partly responsible for this. It's not the fault of the judges. It's the fact that we have a legal architecture that allows activist judges, activist lawyers to affect.
You say that, but actually the judges made the judges made a view, they took a view, made a ruling that Rwanda was unsafe. That's the basis on which 2 of the 3 judges said it.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I absolutely fundamentally disagree. The ruling was quite interesting because effectively they said Rwanda's asylum processing was flawed, and there was a danger of asylum seekers being deported back to their countries of origin, where they could be persecuted or tortured. You know, that's in violation of the Convention on Human Rights.
Yes, fine. Yes.
But the problem is we shouldn't be in this situation in the first place. Why are we subservient to the European Court of Human Rights?
Yes.
Why haven't we amended the Human Rights Act, which enshrines the European Convention?
But the simple answer there is because there's no appetite for that within Westminster. But I come back to these judges. 12 days ago was World Refugee Day, and the United Nations' own High Representative in Rwanda praised the Rwandan government for giving for the fact that 132,000 refugees in Rwanda had education and employment opportunities. So it seems to me that our judges completely ignored that when they said there was a risk of them being deported and not treated properly, etc.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because the two judges who ruled against the government and upheld the appeal, they took their evidence from the UN Refugee Agency, and they operate their own refugee scheme within Rwanda involving Libyan migrants
and migrants from the Democratic Republic Congo and many others. So what's the solution? Here we are. It's now an attractive, even more attractive proposition for the vile people smugglers because they're not going to be deported anywhere. What's the solution? Just finally, Mike.
I think the government has to completely go full whack on this and reconsider the legal superstructure. They can't they can't be risk averse on this. They have to look at the European Convention on Human Rights, which is embedded within the Human Rights Act, and they have to look at our membership of the Council of Europe, which makes us subservient to the European Court of Human Rights.
I agree, Mike. I think they've got to look at that. But all of this takes time. And the reality is we haven't got time because as we speak, more and more crossings are happening. The wind is in the right direction. Just let's wait and see what happens over the next few weeks. Anyway, Dr. Mike Jones, thank you so much as Executive Director of Migration Watch for your thoughts there.